as well. We'll preview all of them. Plus, we'll take a look at Azakes ladies, Ghana's representatives in the CAF Women's Champions League. Yeah, Africa is now joining the Champions League train for women, and it's the first edition that's being held in Egypt. Azakes ladies qualified by the fact that they won the Zone B, here in West Africa, and so they are representing West Africa Zone B. They started well. They won by 3-1 in their first game, and we do a bit of an update, just an update on that one before we move on to other things. Milovan Rahevac has also named his squad for the very crucial, if we want to go to the World Cup, we have to beat Ethiopia and South Africa, so that we don't have any calculator business. And if we beat Ethiopia and South Africa, that means we are going to the next stage of the qualifiers. He has named a very interesting team. Topically, he put out Edmond Addo, who plays at Sheriff Tiraspol. He's been in the Champions League. And also young Afena Jan as well, who plays for AS Roma. Young kid. I mean, just last year he was playing at Interco here in Ghana, and he's now playing for AS Roma. There's been a lot of talk. Some say that he's not ready to come because mentally, he's and all that. So we'll be having that debate, and we'll be taking your calls, we'll be taking your text messages and all that on the JoySports link, which is from now until 2. Stay with us. We'll be doing all of this and more. We start with Kwabna, of course, who will be filling us in on Mexican GP stuff. So Kwabna is here because of Formula One. However, he is firmly looking at the Manchester Derby as well. And I'm told by some people that his heart is. Where is your heart at the moment? Is it inside your chest?
Chelsea.
Where's your heart?
Here, right here.
Is where?
Inside.
So what is your interest in this game?
Of course, City.
You are City. You want City to be them.
The blue.
Okay. But City are your competitors.
No worries.
But you still want them to be Man United.
It's Manchester United. City has to win.
City has to win, eh?
City has to win.
Okay.
Anybody
Anyway,
playing against Manchester United, City has to win.
the starting 11s are out, and very interesting. Man United, De Gea, Lindelof, Eric Bailly, Maguire is playing today, and I'm sure a lot of Man United fans are not happy about that. Cristiano Ronaldo, Greenwood, Fred, Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, and McTominay. So that's the 11 for.
Put Sancho on the bench.
How do you put what?
Sancho. And what's the other guy's name? The Dutch boy.
Van der Beek.
How do you keep those two on the bench?
Well, we'll see. For Manchester City, is Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Stones, Cancelo, Rodrigo, Gundogan is the captain for today. Bernardo is in there, De Bruyne, Gabriel Jesus, and Phil Foden. So that's the starting 11, quite strong. The top 6 looks like this: Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, who are playing today, have 20 points. West Ham are 4th. Man United are 5th. You think, from the way people are complaining, that Man United are 15th. Man United are 5th with 17 points. And they are just 3 points behind Manchester City. And the way people...
This is the point difference from the top.
I know. Chelsea have 25 points and Arsenal sit on 17 points as well. So Man United and Arsenal together on 17 points, and Chelsea are 25 points. And so that's the difference also. Man City, today's visitors here. And this game is at Old Trafford. So that is what it is. I'll be giving you an update of those games, of that game, as and when any goal gets in. And I don't know where your loyalties lay, but you can text us throughout the show while I give you updates. 055-1111-997, 055-1111-997. The City players are getting onto the very immaculate pitch of Old Trafford at Old Trafford. Maguire, captain. It's not Captain Fantastic, definitely. Captain, what's the word again?
Captain 80 million.
Captain Trouble.
Captain
In trouble. He's leading the team, while the captain in spirit, Cristiano Ronaldo, is also there, and the cameras are panning in on him as well.
Ronaldo, Van de Beek, Sancho.
Yeah.
How do you leave those two out?
Anyway, without going into too much detail, we will be looking at the updates for that pretty shortly. But we'd love to know what your predictions of this Manchester derby is. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course. I mean, some have said this will be his last game. I don't think so. I think they're going to keep him for a while. And he's going to be there for a while also. But the reason why Kwabena is here today is the Mexican Grand Prix. And we know that, Charlie, the last time you were here, we talked extensively about Austin.
Yeah.
And it was a brilliant event at Alabadi Beach. I'm telling you. Brilliant event. And people said... Pardon?
We watched it at night.
Yeah, it was a night race. So
it was beautiful.
So the Mexican Grand Prix, I mean, we are getting closer to the end of the season, aren't we?
Yes, we have about 5 races to go. And we still don't know who is actually going to win the championship.
Yeah.
But the Constructors' Championship, it looks like Mercedes is still running away with that one.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the Drivers' Championship, it's still very close.
And to give you an idea, they did the practice one. Practice two. Let's give you an idea of how tough it was for some of your favorites with this. Okay, we'll try and get that a bit later on the Mexican Grand Prix. We had a bit of an update with Max Verstappen, showing some scratchy powers again.
You see the time difference.
Yeah,
they all did 117, 117, but it was the microsecond. It was the microsecond. No, Max did win did top the timers with 1.117, but Valtteri and Lewis were also 117, but just that those microseconds behind him. So you could see the Mexican Grand Prix is going to be very, very tight, and a lot will depend on the qualifiers today. Today's qualifying is going to be an amazing qualifying. So I mean, Mexico is always tight. Lewis has actually won his championship at Mexico before even the Abu Dhabis and the likes. So we know what happens at Mexico, but this time around, going to Mexico, the Drivers' Championship is still very, very tight. You can't really tell. Probably between now and next week's race in Brazil, we may just have an idea. But for me, I still say I see this thing going to the wire in Abu Dhabi. I still see this thing going to the wire.
It's not going to be decided before then.
No, it is too tight. It is too tight. You never know. You see, what people seem to forget is that Max sometimes can get over zealous and can cause.
But he's a good driver.
He's a very good driver. I don't take that away from him. But in terms of his DNF record compared to Lewis, he's much more high. Meaning that driver did not finish the race.
So, what plans do you have for us in terms of the viewing tomorrow?
So we're going back to Marina Mall. It's going to be an interesting race. We are at the upper deck car park, and this is going to be a park and view. You're driving, so your seat is your car. You come.
You sit down and you watch.
Yeah, you sit down and you watch. You come in with your car. There'll be drinks, food.
Nice one. That's always good, yeah.
Yeah. Talk of Luna Bar opening. Talk of Akosombo Bar opening inside the Marina Mall. Heineken having their bar there. Right across the street, you have the Shell shop. Yeah. With Shell, and all that. Shell is also one of our partners. So, I mean.
Just get whatever you want.
Yeah, Marina Mall is always an interesting place to watch F1. The screen is right there. You can even stand at the Shell station and still watch the race with the screen up there.
Yeah.
So it's always going to be fun. The thing is that the MotoGP is currently in Portugal, and their race is actually earlier. It's at 1 p.m. So we are actually going to set up our screens before 1 p.m. for the motor riders, the bikers, the biking fan or the motorsport fan people to come in and watch their Portuguese Grand Prix for the MotoGP, watching the MotoGP 1 and 2 and then MotoGP itself. And then after that, we also have the Arsenal Watford game also coming up, and then we also have Liverpool and Wolves also coming up before the almighty Mexican Grand Prix at 7 p.m. in the evening.
It's an evening race as well, again.
Over here, it's an evening
for us.
Yeah, for us. So we'll be watching the race from 7 p.m., but then before that, there'll be the MotoGP, the Portuguese Grand Prix, and then we have 2 more football games right down to the Mexican Grand Prix. Amazing prizes that we're giving away tomorrow. More than 1,500 cedis worth of vouchers from Skechers alone. Drinks from Red Bull, drinks from Heineken, vouchers from Starbites as well. So it will be a very interesting race tomorrow for people to pass by at the Marina Mall.
Anything else we should know about? Always, I want you to remind us of how we can join the F1 community.
Oh, yes. I mean, to join the F1 community is very, very
in Ghana,
simple. In Ghana, it's very, very simple. Just send your WhatsApp details to 020-4480-300, 80300. Just send us your WhatsApp details and we'll add you to the group. That's how simple it is. And it's a very interesting
And you'll
group.
be updated on all the events and everything that's coming up.
Everything. I mean, as right down to those of us going to Abu Dhabi Grand Prix and all that. So it's going to be an interesting next 5 races beginning from today, because we have Brazil to come, we have Qatar to come, we have Saudi Arabia to come, and we have Abu Dhabi to come. You know, and Brazil is right next to it.
Second practice in Mexico City.
Yeah.
Qatar is following up, and then we have Saudi Arabia, which is the first time they are hosting an F1 race. And then Abu Dhabi, the almighty Abu Dhabi, coming up in the final race.
Just to give us an idea of what the Grand Prix has been like so far, in the free practice, in the practice 1 and 2, we put this together. Finally, we've got the tape. You might have heard it, just trying to, get in the way of Cobness' speech right now to give us an idea of how tough it's been in the practice races.
City, and with the dust subsiding somewhat and the track rubbering in, times were tipped to tumble. It didn't take long for Max Verstappen to top the table. Of the early medium-shod runners, he was nearly half a second quicker than the next fastest driver, and better than Valtteri Bottas's best time set in first practice on the red ringed rubber. The Flying Finn holds an absolute record here, having set the fastest time through a speed trap in F1 history back in 2016, a mighty 372.5 kilometers an hour. Perhaps trying to recreate that moment, Bottas left his braking a little late at the end of the long straight. A double front lockup, seeing the Mercedes man overshooting turn 1 and trundling across the grass. Moments later, teammate Lewis Hamilton followed suit.
Yeah, these tyres are done, man.
The reigning champion, Victor here in 2019, has only had 1 pole in the last 13 races, his worst run of the hybrid era. Trailing Verstappen by 12 points coming into this weekend, the Briton needs a strong showing if he's to stay in touch. Pierre Gasly continued his impressive run of form, P6 for the likeable AlphaTauri driver, with teammate Yuki Tsunoda some 2/10 further back. Honda have a lot of history here. This track the site of their very first victory in Formula One in 1965, with American Richie behind the wheel. Sebastian Vettel was another who flirted with the upper end of the timesheets early doors. The Aston Martin driver, no stranger to the podium in Mexico, having finished second in the previous 2 Grand Prix, had Portimao flashbacks as he drove through the wrong pit box again.
Yeah, so just a snippet of what happened in Mexico in the practice as well. And just a reminder, tomorrow, it's happening at the Marina Mall. It's a drive-in.
Yes.
You just drive your car, park and view, get your inchichos, your own car. If it's your beer, there's a Heineken bar there. There's the Shell shop across the street. And then enjoy the football. There'll be some football. Arsenal, Watford tomorrow. Liverpool.
And the MotoGP as well.
The MotoGP will also be on. So you can spend an entire sporting day there as well. Thanks to DSTV, who will be also supporting with their large screens and all that, right? Okay, so that's the plan for tomorrow. Kwamna Poku, thank you very much for that. Meanwhile, he'll be keeping an eye also on the football that's currently just kicked off. Is Manchester City away at Manchester United at Old Trafford. How will it go? Man City.
My own shout outs to Joy99.7. We're watching.
Yeah, so it's one of the games I'll be looking forward to this weekend, and we did that with a preview in our BBC News 2. George Addo Jr. spoke to John Bennett on what to expect in a wonderful weekend of sport.
Thanks, Sean, for your time, as always, on the locker room. And it's always great to have you here. And, of course, we have to start with the managerial casualty of the week. Nuno Espirito Santo was sacked after a string of poor results at Spurs. How much of this was down to the manager, and was he fairly dealt with?
Hi, George. Great to speak to you again. I don't think it's fair. I don't think we could call it fair. But I do think it was the right decision in the end to sack Nuno Espirito Santo. To be honest, I think it was the wrong decision in the first place to appoint him. I think he was the wrong man. I think he was way down their list of people they actually wanted. And now, eventually, they have got their first choice. Antonio Conte is their first choice. So I don't think we can call it fair. What was it, 16 games in the end that he had in charge? Only a few months. He won Manager of the Month in his first month. So you can never call it fair. But let's look at the performances. They were really poor. Even the wins they picked up, they were narrow wins. And I just didn't feel that there was any positive momentum there. He didn't seem to have developed a relationship with the players, even though it was very early. So, yes, I think it's very harsh. But in the end, I'm sad to say it's probably the correct decision, particularly when you consider who they brought in.
So, John, it's the former Chelsea manager Antonio Conte who takes over the job. Knowing how ambitious he can be, the Italian will be really hoping to win things with Spurs. But is this the kind of squad and manager he really needs?
Yeah, I think there are two ways of looking at it. The first way is to say, wow, what an appointment. You know, George, you love Chelsea. You know what he did for your football club. Antonio Conte did a great job there. Did a brilliant job at Juventus. Wonderful job at Inter over the last couple of seasons, winning the title last season. The one question mark he's had, I think, is performances in Europe. Remember, they lost the Europa League final, knocked out in the Champions League in the early stages a few times as well with Juve and with Inter. But that's a long way on the horizon for Tottenham. They can only dream of the Champions League at the moment. In terms of whether you think the owner is good enough, listen, it's not whether he's good enough, it's whether he will provide the funds for Antonio Conte to build the squad. And I think that is a huge, huge question mark. That is a massive question mark as to whether Antonio Conte will get what he needs to develop this Tottenham team into a winning team. Because we know that Antonio Conte is very, very demanding. He often falls out with people above him. He does have a good relationship with the sporting director at Tottenham. I think that is a plus. But in January and in the summer transfer window, Antonio Conte will be demanding a lot from the Tottenham board. And in the past, we haven't seen them deliver when it comes to transfers and backing their managers. Yes, they brought in some good players. But with the stadium being built, I think that has sometimes cost them in the transfer market, and they haven't really invested when they needed to. But the big example of that was after the Champions League final, when Mauricio Pochettino really needed some investment in the squad to help him to build the squad. Tottenham didn't really go for it in that summer transfer window. So we'll see. That is my one question mark, my one doubt as to whether this relationship between Antonio Conte and Tottenham can work.
So, John, it appears Antonio Conte was perhaps about the most suitable replacement for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that if he was ever going to be sacked. All of a sudden, it appears there are no contenders for his job. Is that the peace of mind Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs to work?
Well, I don't think he can have much peace of mind, because I think if the Manchester derby, if it goes wrong, if the performance is anywhere near as bad as the performance against Liverpool, and I think we're back to square one when it comes to the pressure on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Good performance last weekend against Tottenham, 3-0 win, but Tottenham were really poor. Needed an injury time equaliser against Atalanta, some Cristiano Ronaldo magic. Yet again, it's relying on individual skill, individuals turning a game, rather than a game plan, rather than the tactics working. So we'll see this weekend. It's going to be very tough. No Rafael Varane. I don't think Antonio Conte was the man that Manchester United were looking for to take them forward if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer left. I just don't think they felt that his personality fitted in with the club. Where else are they going to look? Brendan Rodgers has been mentioned, but he's got strong links to Liverpool. I can't see how that would work with the Manchester United fans. Zinedine Zidane apparently doesn't want to work in England. So you're right, there aren't that many contenders out there to take on the job. So I think the Manchester United board are hoping against hope that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can turn this around and turn this Manchester United team packed with talent into a winning unit.
John, we know Newcastle are close to an agreement with Eddie Howe to become the club's new manager, and many close to the club have indicated the former Bournemouth boss will be in charge for Saturday's Premier League game at Brighton. What more do you know, and is he the man for Newcastle?
Well, let's be fair to Eddie Howe. He did a wonderful job at Bournemouth. He took them from a team at the bottom of the 4th Division, the bottom of League 2, having had points deducted due to going into administration, and he took them to the Premier League, and they stayed in the Premier League as well for a few seasons. I just wonder how much his confidence has been hit, how much his reputation has been tarnished by that final season when Bournemouth went down. And I just wonder if he's the type of manager they need right now, because He plays great football, Eddie Howe, when everything's flowing, when everything's going well. But defensively, there were big question marks. And also, the big question marks were around his recruitment in the Premier League, particularly in those final couple of seasons. The players he brought in didn't really improve the team, and some big money was spent as well, relatively speaking. So that would put a few doubts in my mind if I was a Newcastle fan. But let's remember, let's forget that fight. If you forget that final season he had at Bournemouth, the rest of it, the rest of the work he did was brilliant. He was being mentioned as a possible Arsenal boss, wasn't he, for a long time? So let's give him a chance. Let's see if it works. Very difficult job, though. I think they're in a lot of danger of getting relegated this season. Things need to turn around very quickly. They've got some fixtures. Just after the international break, they play Burnley, they play Norwich. Those are must-win games.
John, more managers, because it appears there is a developing situation at the moment around former Spurs boss Mauricio Pochettino at PSG. What has he been doing wrong with the Paris Saint-Germain squad at the moment?
Yeah, the French media are getting on its back, despite the fact that they are top of Ligue 1. I think it's 8 points clear. Despite the fact that they're on course to make it to the last 16 of the Champions League. Still some work to do after their draw against RB Leipzig. Mauricio Pochettino is getting some criticism. I think there are a few reasons why. I don't think this team has an identity yet. It's nothing like the Mauricio Pochettino Tottenham team. I just don't think Mauricio Pochettino is comfortable at the moment with having a team of stars. Someone made a great point to me earlier this week. They said with Tottenham, he made a team of stars. With Paris Saint-Germain, he's been given a team of stars, and I don't think he's particularly comfortable with that. So there doesn't seem to be a game plan. There doesn't seem to be a Mauricio Pochettino identity. Defensively, they've had problems. There have been a lot of scrappy wins. You know, they picked up the results domestically, but there have been a lot of scrappy late wins. So, yeah, I think it's difficult at the moment for Mauricio Pochettino and Paris Saint-Germain. I don't think he's under any direct pressure. But if they lose badly to Manchester City in the next Champions League game, and there's any possibility of them being knocked out of the Champions League, that's when the pressure could ramp up for Mauricio Pochettino.
So, John, is the Manchester derby between Pep Guardiola's men and the Red Army of Liga Nasocia. Manchester City are desperate to get back to winning ways, of course, after the loss to Crystal Palace. All these men will want to do everything to prevent another poor showing like that 5-0 drubbing at the hands of Liverpool. Where will this game be won or lost?
Well, quite simply, I think if Manchester City turn up, if Manchester City are anywhere near their best, then I can't see any other result than a big Manchester City win. Manchester United have to be at their absolute best and hope Manchester City have an off day to get anything from this game. I think they have to be solid in midfield. Manchester United, something we haven't seen from them. I think their back three has to be solid, which is going to be very difficult without Rafael Varane. David De Gea has to have a world-class performance. He was a bit disappointing, wasn't he, against Atalanta midweek, despite having a great season. And we need some magic from the likes of Cavani, the likes of Ronaldo, because, yeah, everything I think has to go well for Manchester United, and Manchester City have to have an off day. They have to have one of those days where they create lots of chances, but don't take them, because we know that whatever happens, City will create chances. It's just how many they take on the day.
John, let's talk about the top games this weekend then, and the storylines you will be chasing. I guess Chelsea, Burnley, West Ham, Liverpool, Arsenal, Watford all feature in that.
Yeah, Arsenal could go 10 matches unbeaten. They are looking superb, aren't they, this season? That was a really good win over Leicester City last season. They started the game with brilliant intensity. Aaron Ramsdale, their goalkeeper, I think sums up the personality, the character that Mikel Arteta is starting to instill in this team. Great to see Thomas Partey playing really well as well. Chelsea against Burnley is slightly more interesting than I think it would have been had Burnley not won last weekend to get off the mark in the Premier League. So they'll have a bit of confidence. They'll feel they have nothing to lose going to Stamford Bridge, but Chelsea should win that comfortably. West Ham, Liverpool, though, for me, one of the games of the weekend, because you've got West Ham in great form. They could go above Liverpool with a win. That's how good they've been this season. And the fact it's at the London Stadium, for me, gives West Ham a chance. Don't get me wrong, I think Liverpool are the favourites. But I was at Anfield last weekend when they drew 2-2 against Brighton. There are some vulnerabilities at the back, particularly getting behind the two full-backs or wing-backs, as Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold like to play. So, not a foregone conclusion, that game. Another great weekend in the Premier League, George, and make sure you enjoy it. Good luck to Chelsea.
Thank you very much, John, for a time on the show.
The Joy Sports Link is powered by the Joy Sports team. Just gone by George Addo Jr. speaking to John Bennett of the BBC in our BBC News 2A for the week. And as he said, if City have a good game, it's going to be a bloodbath. Manchester City are already ahead by a goal 2-0. And they didn't score the goal themselves. It was handily donated by Eric Bailly. He scored an own goal after such a great week where everybody was, giving him props for having a monster game against Atalanta. He does this as well. It doesn't help his cause to get a permanent place in that starting 11, especially in the defense. But United already behind by a goal. But I'll be updating you throughout the show from now till 2 on what happens in that Manchester derby. And I'd love to hear your predictions, especially 055 1111997, 055 1111997. Now, something interesting has been happening to Ghana's representative in the CAF Women's Champions League. If you have not been listening to the news or following our updates, the Confederation of African Football have decided to start a Champions League for women. Other continents have started a while ago. In Europe, they started the UEFA Women's Cup. That was what it was called before it transitioned to become the UEFA Women's Champions League. And that started in 2001-2002 season. So it's taking a while for CAF to catch up. But they have, and the first edition is taking place in Egypt. It's an 8-team tournament involving the regional representatives or the sub-regional representatives. And West Africa was represented by Ghana's Azakes ladies who won the Zone B tournament, and AS Monday from Mali. From Mali. Yes, AS Monday from Mali, who also got themselves that win also in Zone A. So what is happening is that the Hazakis ladies won their first game by 3-1, and they were very good value for their money. Let's get some analysis from Aisha Zakaria, who watches the Hazakis ladies quite religiously, to get an idea of what happened and what we should expect in their next 2 games. Remember, the Hazakis ladies have 2 more games against AS Monday and also Wadi Degla of Egypt.
Well, Gary, thank you so much. For me, I believe Hazakis ladies, they had a good game. Now, 3-1 first game is not a bad scoreline, but I believe they could have scored more. Yes, they could have actually scored more goals. And after the game yesterday, I sent a voice note to some of the players telling them the mistakes that they made, especially player like Rafa Jafaro, a player like Veronica Apia, a player like Doris Bedua, even Evelyn Bedua. I believe she could have scored a hat-trick. In the first half, Rama got 2 clear chances that she could have scored, but she missed. Same goes for Veronica Apia. Now for Vero, I didn't see the best of Vero yesterday, honestly. I mean, she tried, but that was not the Veronica that we knew, because the Veronica that I knew, the Veronica we all know, goes in for tackles, get the ball, run, dribble, show a bit of skills, then score. But yesterday, she was just standing at the 18-yard box waiting for the ball to come to her. Now, people might say, okay, because she's recovering from an injury, because when we went to Abidjan for the qualifiers, in the final game against River Angels, she picked up an injury, same as Milot Sabina Pokwat. Now, that is why we didn't see Milot in the game yesterday. So for Vero, she was a bit careful with the kind of tackles that she went in for. But in general, I believe Hazakis ladies were able to sustain the pressure from Malabo Kings. Now, the Malabo Kings, they are very, very strong. They are stronger than us. If you look at them physically, they are taller than us. So I must applaud Hazakis ladies. They did so well because they were able to contain and find an antidote to their physique, which is, and their strength, which is their biggest asset coming into the game. So I'm impressed. For Grace Banwa, I think she needs to learn to communicate more with Blessing Shine. The case is that Blessing Shine just joined them. Like the first game they played together as a team was against Immigration Ladies at the McDowntown Park before they travel to Egypt. Now this is her first competitive game with Hazakis ladies, so that might explain the miscommunication that caused the goal between her and then Grace Bauer, goalkeeper. Now, going into the next game on Monday against AS Monday, I am expecting a good game from Hazakes ladies, and I'm sure AS Monday is coming in with everything they got, because I mean the AS Monday team, it is not a bad team. They lost 3-1 against Wagdi. That is true, but because they underestimated the Wagdi team, because AS Monday team is made up of they have the stars, because they are playing like a player like Basira Toure up front. You have Fatima Diarra, you have Fatima Kunde, you have Aisata. So listen, these are girls that play at the Malian senior women's team. We saw them in 2018 during the Women's African Cup of Nations. So yes, they lost 3-1 first game, but I believe that they are coming up against Hazakes, so they know what is at stake, and they know if they want to progress to the semi-finals, they need to beat Hazakes. So I'm expecting a good game. In all, I think Hazakes ladies can push through to the semi-finals and even the finals. They have a good material, and you have Coach Yusuf Basigi that you can never go wrong with Coach Yusuf Basigi. So the star is the limit for Hazakes. I believe they can go far in the competition.
Aisha Zakaria giving us a bit of analysis on Hazakes ladies who are representing Ghana in the CAF Women's Champions League. It's the first edition, like I said, and it's happening in Egypt, and it will be on. It should be interesting to watch. Yeah, we are trying to put women's football on the front burner, so please expect more of such detailed reports on all our bulletins on radio and TV. For those who follow us on social media, at JoySports GH on Twitter and on Facebook as well, you notice that we gave the Hazakes ladies game the full treatment we do give Black Stars games, from probable lineups to live updates on myjoyonline.com. We did a match report, we made a match preview, we had analysis on TV, the whole hog. We are giving it the same treatment. We are giving it the men's game as well, because that is where the world is going. Anyway, so now let's come to the men's game. Ghana Premier League match day 2 began yesterday in Sogakope. The end result was that Hearts of Oak's winless run at that venue, Sogakope, against Wafa extended to 8 games after they were held to a 1-1 draw. And that result means that some Obwedu's men start their title defense on a blunt note, with the Phobians yet to win a game. Their goal came from Kofi Koji, and he gave the defending champions the lead in the dying minutes of the first half after a long ball from Salifu Ibrahim caught Wafa's defense off guard. And then, despite the first half score, Wafa were on top. They were the stronger of the two sides, really. In the second half, they created the most chances, saw most of the ball, and were unlucky also to be down. So let's bring you the highlights of that game. KCC, our partner, Star Times.
They shared the spoils as Accra Hearts of Oak got us underway in this game, and quickly they got into attack. But for West Africa Football Academy, every opportunity they got, they would send one into the 18-yard box. That time around, it was Richard Atta's reflexes that saved the day. Fatal Mohamed also came in with a few crosses dealt with by the defense of Wafa, and the pendulum swung to and fro, causing no havoc to both sides. Again, some dexterity on the part of the midfield players as they came forward. At this time around, that long ball in from Ransford could not do any damage. They still kept coming forward, trying to create the spaces, and on that occasion, they had to take the quick reflex of Richard Atta to save the day for Accra Hearts of Oak. They did not let it there, but they still kept probing Accra Hearts of Oak with Kofi Koji, the mentor up front, and on this occasion, he managed to get a goal through the legs of Osei Kwejo Boateng. So Accra Hearts of Oak ended the first half with their noses in front, went into the dressing room looking hale and hearty. That goal was scored by bulky Kofi Koji. But for West Africa Football Academy, they still came up with options, and they got back into the game through number 10, Samson Ajipong, with a careful pass from Justus Tosuche, who got his foot in there, and they buried it on the blind side of Richard Atta. Just could not react to that. And that put Wafa forward. Enoch Subonting also came up with a few opportunities of his own. This time, he blasted wide. They still kept probing. The likes of James Sewonu also created opportunities for Accra Hearts of Oak, but it came to naught as both sides huffed and puffed.
Okay, so that report from Prince Alan of Star Times, that happened in Sogakope. Let's hear from Samuel Boydu, the coach of Hearts of Oak, on what he thought on the game.
Sometimes there's a lot of it work for perfection, but there was a little mistake that we need to correct it. The goal that we conceded, from the dugout, I can see that it's a misunderstanding or miscommunication that causes that for them to cancel that goal. I know myself, maybe from fourth match going, things will change. When Asofo started picking up, it's unstoppable.
Samuel Boadu speaking there. Also, interestingly, I'd love to hear from Heart of Oak fans. I mean, a team like yours, defending champions, you want to hit the ground running, but your coach says that, you should expect wins and Heart of Oak to start being unstoppable from match day 4, by which time some of the other teams would have been out of sight. So I'd love to hear from you, 055-1111-997. But there are some interesting games coming up in the Ghana Premier League today and tomorrow. Let's do the GPL wrap now. You might have heard this on the locker room. Let's get it again.
After Hearts of Oak failed to claim the needed 3 points against Wafa following the 1-1 draw, Asante Kotoko have the opportunity to extend the point gap and ultimately reclaim the top spot when they face table toppers Bechem United at their favourite Kumasi Babayara Stadium, their first match at the venue in over a year. But it will not be plain sailing. Bechem United are coming into this fixture on the back of a resounding triumph over title hopefuls Midiama Sporting Club at the Nana Fosu Abo Park in the season opener, a win that has skyrocketed their confidence coming into the clash on Sunday. Ashanti Gold achieved success on the opening day after beating 11 Wonders 1-0 in Techiman last week. The Miners hope to make it 2 out of 2 when they welcome title contenders Karela United at the Lenkley Stadium in Obuasi. Karela will also try to record their first win of the season against the Miners. The visitors are confident as they have gone unbeaten in their last 2 visits at the Lenkley Stadium. The Pride and Passion Club won 1-0 in the special competition in Obuasi and drew 2-2 with the Miners in the Premiership last season. After attaining a point against defending champions Hearts of Oak, Legon Cities on Saturday will seek their first win when they host Real Tamale United at the Accra Sports Stadium. RTU held Great Olympics on day 1 and are optimistic they can cause an upset against the Royals. However, Legon City's goalkeeper Ofori Entry, who joined the Royals before the start of the league season, is backing the side to brush aside the Premier League returnees. Another newly promoted side is Accra Lions, and they will lock horns with Great Olympics at the Accra Sports Stadium. The debutants came from behind to snatch a point against Elmina Sharks in the season's opener. Their reliable striker, Rauf Salifu, is aiming to continue his form against the Wonder Club. The forward ended up as top scorer in last season's Division 1 league with 21 goals and also netted against Elmina Sharks. However, Jamaldin Haruna and Zachary Hamza will hope to keep him at bay. In other games, Dreams FC traveled to the central region to lock horns with Elmina Sharks at the Indom Sports Stadium, very eager to bounce back from the disappointing defeat to Asante Kotoko. Aduana Stars welcome Kim Faisal at the Nana Ajuman Bedu Park, and at the Golden City Park, Brekum Chelsea entertain 11 Wonders.
Mubarak Haruna with that wrap of the Ghana Premier League and what we should expect this weekend. So, who is your money on? Let's know. Meanwhile, it's still Manchester City leading United by a goal to nil. Cristiano Ronaldo came close and Greenwood could not put in the rebound, and so it's still 1-0 with 27 minutes play. Let's go through the fixtures of the Ghana Premier League again. Ash Gold versus Karela today. Legon City's RTU also today. And tomorrow, Aduana Stars, Kim Faisal, Brekum Chelsea, 11 Wonders, Elmina Sharks, Dreams FC, and Great Olympics Accra Lions. Then, the big one tomorrow is Asante Kotoko versus Bechem United. It's 629 days since Asante Kotoko last played at the Babayara Stadium before it underwent renovation. And the game they played before the renovation started was against Bechem United, actually. And it was Bechem United who literally ended their title hopes. And so that has a lot of subplots on it as well. That game is expected to be fireworks. That will be today at 3 p.m. Midiama, that will be tomorrow, at 3 p.m. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. Midiama and BBN Gold Stars will also be later. Now, in the Ghana Premier League, one of the key issues has been about security. Last season was blighted by 2 key issues, one of which was policing and also hooliganism. So yesterday, it was great for all of us to hear that the Ghana Police Service, under the leadership of the new IGP, called on the Ghana Football Association for a courtesy visit. So they went to the police headquarters and they had a meeting. Kindly, they invited Joy FM to be there. And here's a report from Muftau Nabila on what the IGP and the GFA discussed here in Accra.
Wherever you are, whoever you are, wherever you are, do not misconduct yourselves when it comes to Ghana football, because the IGP has warned that they will come after you. That is a major warning to the football community. Everyone has said that it's a new era, a new atmosphere is blowing around the Ghana Police Service, and at the behest of the IGP, Dampari Ekufo-Addo, there was a meeting with the Ghana Football Association at the police headquarters, where the police have decided to partner with the Ghana Football Association to curb hooliganism, to also help them investigate alleged match fixing and other issues in relation to the governance of football in the country. Secretary General of the Ghana FA, Prosper Harrison Addo, has enumerated the conversations that transpired when the two entities met earlier.
Key things for our supporters, and here I'm addressing the supporters directly. The game has changed. From today, the game has changed. And so, when you come to the grounds, behave properly. Indeed, a crime outside the stadium is the same inside the stadium. And so, when you come and you misbehave and you are apprehended at the stadia, and put it at the back of your mind that you can also, after the match, be apprehended at your own homes. And so, going forward, know that any action that you cannot take under the laws of the country outside the stadium, if you take them inside the stadium, it is not business as usual. You will be arrested, and here I quote again, the IGP said, we will come for you wherever you are and wherever you are. And so that is the new phrase I'd like everybody to dwell on.
From the end of the Ghana Police Service, Director of Public Relations, Samuel Kwesi Ofori, indicated that the police service is committed to ensuring that law and order is sustained at Ghana Premier League venues.
From the police end, the meeting was at the behest of the Inspector General of Police, and the idea, the controlling idea behind it is to see how best the police can support the Ghana Football Association in terms of protecting lives and property at the various stadia in the country. Secondly, to deal with violence, at the stadium, and the police would deploy sufficiently, to confront such issues and deal with them according to law.
If you ever thought going to a match venue is a platform for you to cause mayhem, give it a second thought, just because you might find yourself at the wrong end of the law. Muftau Nabila Abdullahi from the police headquarters for JoySports.
Right, and Muftau, that was his report. He's on the line now to give us further context to that meeting. Good afternoon, Muftau. Thank you for joining us on the JoySports link.
Thanks, Gary, for having me.
Right, we just had your reports there, just summarizing everything. But, it was interesting to see the IGP invite the hierarchy of the Football Association, wasn't it? Was it an isolated incident, or is part of a wide-ranging thing that the IGP is doing and meeting several people from several sectors of the country's life?
It was not an isolated issue. It was part of the Ghana Police Service, new ways of engaging various stakeholders in the country to ensure that the police is very proactive in terms of security issues in the country. So everyone knows that football in the country commands massive numbers, and the Ghana Police Service feels that as a sport that commands huge numbers at various sporting centers or various match venues, it is important to engage those who govern the sport in the country to have an idea about the kind of security that will require to ensure that there's sanity in the sport. So that was why the the IGP extended an invite to the Ghana Football Association to his office yesterday for that interaction.
Great. So apart from your reports, the salient points that we heard, wherever you are, whoever you are, if you misbehave, you will be caught. Anything else of note that we should know? I mean, in terms of those who attended, you have said in previous reports, Muftau, that representatives of all the Ghana Premier League teams were there. What else should we know about?
Yes, representatives of all the Ghana Premier League teams were there. Some staff of the Ghana FA too were there. So this meeting was clearly for members of the elite clubs to tell the Ghana Police Service their concerns and how the Ghana Police Service can also help them. And then also for the Ghana Police Service to also share with them some concerns so that and how the Ghana FA can also help them. So here, most of the clubs spoke about the limited number of police officers who often come to match venues. So it makes it very difficult for the Ghana Police Service to come after hooligans. The FA president and other members of the football community who were at a meeting indicated that even sometimes you go to match venues and people come in there with narcotics. So they were calling on the Ghana Police Service to step up and ensure that they sanitize the football community for everyone. Keto Clerk, who actually described it as their business. Those who come and want to match our business, help us sanitize it. That was a message Keto Kreku gave to the IGP, and the IGP was also clear in his mind of what they are going to do to ensure that security at match venues is one thing that will ensure that everyone who goes to match venue, your life, your property, is fully protected. In terms of match fixing, the Ghana Police Service indicated to the clubs that if you fix matches, the police service will also fix you. That was a warning the IGP sent to the clubs in the meeting yesterday. So everyone was in sync. One other thing the police mentioned in their meeting with the GFA was that sometimes we want to come with a certain number of police officers so that we can provide the best of security. However, because of, say, resources, it's very difficult for the clubs to be able to meet it. But at this point, the Ghana FA have decided that they are not going to determine how many police officers that should come to a match venue. The police is supposed to ensure that security at match venues is intact. So the police will now determine how many police officers they need at a specific match center. That was one thing the two parties have agreed. Also, the setting up of a police sports unit. This one is still in the pipeline. They are still discussing it because a lot of resources will be required to have that police unit. The IGP and the Ghana FA have all agreed that it is necessary to have security in place for sport, just for the Ghana football, but other sectors of the sport. So this was an area that the IGP and the Ghana FA all agreed. The other thing that many people would be interested in has to do with the issues of match fixing. And here, let me indicate that the police have decided that they are going to use their intelligence to help investigate match fixing issues. So it is not going to be the Ghana FA alone doing the investigations. Even the recent issue involving Ash Gold Inter Allies, the alleged match fixing that happened on the last day of the Ghana Premier League, the Secretary General of the Ghana FA, Prosper Hassan Ado, actually even reported the matter to Interpol as well, and reported to the Criminal Investigative Department of the Ghana of the police. So all these sectors have been called upon to ensure that security at match centers, the sanity surrounding Ghana football, the integrity of surrounding Ghana football is fully protected.
Great. Another issue that many people want to know when it comes to hooliganism is who has the bigger job. Was it addressed at the meeting? Because there are those in the football circles who believe that it's the Ghana Police Service who have to come to the venue, bring insecurity like you've mentioned, and arrest people and prosecute them. The Ghana Police Service also seems to have a posture that says that, GFA, the matches happen, it's sort of your thing. And so you should bring us the troublemakers and then we would follow it up. I know that in the past there's been a little bit of tension. Yes.
Yeah, I can get your question, Gary. At this point, it is a matter of shared responsibility.
Yes.
And what I picked up from the meeting was that the police have got the prosecutorial powers. And you would recall in your interview with the Ghana FA president, Keto Kreko, on Twitter, and he indicated that he's not the IGP and does not have the prosecutorial powers. He expects the police to work. One thing he actually mentioned to the Ghana Police Service was that sometimes you come and even supporters spray pepper spray on your officers and you do nothing about it. And that was quite an interesting thing for me to hear from the FA president when he was speaking to the Ghana Police Service, especially to the IGP, wanting him to act. Because it was a new thing I heard that supporters would have the temerity of spraying pepper onto police officers and they do nothing about it. So what the Ghana FA have actually asked the IGP and his team to do is that we want you to ensure law and order. And also, the police also told the club, you know these people, you know the people who come to the stadium to perpetrate these acts. They are your people, they are your supporters. We would appreciate if you avail yourselves and give us the right information. You did hear the Secretary General, Lawyer Hassan Prosper Ado, mention that even if you commit a crime at the stadium, the police will come after you, even in your house, and arrest you. So a crime committed in the stadium is not different from a crime that is committed outside the stadium. And this is one thing the JoySports team has always been talking about. People will tell you that if you commit a crime by the roadside, the police will take you on. Why is it that when we go to match centers, people come there to perpetrate crimes and they go home scot-free? This is going to be a thing of the past because both parties have agreed a crime committed out inside the stadium is a crime committed anywhere. So the police have decided that at this point, GFA, let your members be committed to give us information. Let them release the people to us. And at this point, again, let me just say that if you commit a crime at the stadium, don't expect any club to come begging the police to release you because both clubs have agreed with the GFA and also with the Ghana Police Service that if you commit a crime, you will face the full rigors of the law without anyone coming to plead on your behalf.
Great. Thank you very much, Muftal, for that comprehensive report. We appreciate it. Later,
Thanks for having me.
We'll be hearing Muftal speak to the GFA General Secretary, that's Prosper Harrison Ado, on a range of issues also. That will be later on in the show. So, still on the Ghana Premier League, this was just to keep you updated on the security situation we have to expect this season. It's match day 2 already. And this is what we will be hoping to be done between the GFA and the police. Now, one of the big match centers is finally open. It's the Baba Yara Stadium, like I said. Asante Kotoko will be playing host to Bechem United for the first time in just about 630 days since they last played there because of their renovation. It's ready, and lots of fans have been excited. This week when Kotoko trained there, there were so many people at the stadium that the hierarchy of Kotoko had to go on radio in Kumasi to warn that COVID restrictions are still in place, and so there will be a limited number of people that will be allowed to enter. Indeed, it even pushed the interest for the media to go and see the game involving Asante Kotoko and Bechem United because it's the first time the stadium is hosting a game in more than 2 years. Was so much that Kotoko issued a press, a press release that only 100 journalists or 100, persons from media houses will be allowed at the game because of the sheer interest. Our colleague Stephen Zando from Love FM puts everything together in this report to give us a sense of the expectation ahead of the opening or the reopening of the Baba Yara Stadium.
The team held an afternoon training session yesterday at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi as the rest prepared to host Bechem United on match day 2 of the Ghana Premier League on Sunday. Yesterday's training saw all registered players of Kotoko involved in the exercise. The likes of Fabio Gama, Mudasiru Salifu, Black Stars defender Ismail Ganiyu, and new signing Richmond Lamte all took part in the exercise. The training session, which was led by coach Dr. Prosper Gumnati and his 2 assistants, is expected to continue later today at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium. Kotoko, as part of preparation for this weekend's crunch encounter against Bechem United, beat Future Stars Academy by 2-1 on Wednesday at the Adokojache Park. In what promises to be a memorable return to the Babarawa Sports Stadium after beating Dreams FC on match day 1, supporters of Kotoko on the streets of Kumasi have signaled they will troop into the stadium in their numbers with the aim of cheering the team to victory.
Stephen Zando with that report. So that ends the Ghana Premier League bit for today's show. We'll be moving on to some other things. We are still here on the Joy Sports link. Also, here in our studio, we are watching the match between Man United and Man City. 43 minutes, almost half time. And United are still trailing by a goal to nil. They are playing better though, but their pressing is not great. Man City are creating quite a number of chances, even though Man United are playing 5 at the back, 3 in the middle. You know, they are playing 2 holding midfielders, it looks like. 2 defensive midfielders, sorry. City still are having a lot of joy. There's a lot of space in that United midfield and defensive midfield, and City, especially Phil Foden and others and Kevin De Bruyne, are having a lot of joy. So this is the Joy Sports link still going on. We'll be going into the Black Stars right now.
Joy 99.7 FM.
I was going to just update you on the Black Stars, but Manchester City have gone 2-0 right now. Bernardo got the goal. It's Silva, yeah. Bernardo got the goal. And David De Gea, who has been nothing short of heroic in the 44 minutes previous, has absolutely had a great game, but even he's been beaten now. I was just speaking a minute ago about the space United are allowing City is criminal at best, you know. Allow the Portuguese to have so much space, cross the ball, and then get it back. And the defending was absolute. Look at that. Look at that. Anyway, let's go on to some other things. And the Black Star squad has been named for Ethiopia and South Africa. And the topical news is very, very interesting, as we have 28 players for the crucial games on the 11th and the 14th of this one. Notable names such as Andrea Ayew, Jordan Ayew, and Thomas Partey are all named in the team. Meanwhile, there is a return for attacker Richmond Boakye Yadom. Ghana will travel to South Africa to play Ethiopia before finishing off the group with a clash against Bafana in Cape Coast. So the squad looks like this. For the goalkeepers is Joseph Wollacott of Swindon Town, Lawrence Atisegis and Galen Manaf Nuruddin of UPenn, Richard Atta of Hearts of Oak defenders and the Yadom, and Baba Abdul Rahman, Gideon Mensah, Daniel Amate, Alexander Jiku, Joseph Edu, Jonathan Mensah, Ismail Abdul Ganeyu there as well. And we have Gideon Mensah also. I think I've mentioned him already. For the midfielders, it's Baba Idrisu, Thomas Partey, Mubarak Wakaso, Edmond Ado, Mohamed Kudus, and Daniel Kofi-Tre. The wingers, Andrea Ayew, Jordan Ayew, Fatau Isahaku, Kamal Dean Sulemana, Samuel Owusu. For the strikers, there's Richmond Boakye Yadom, Benjamin Tete, Felix Afenajan, and Caleb Ekuban. So Felix Afenajan is a youngster who plays for AS Roma. It is his inclusion that has got a lot of people talking, it must be said, because, you know, people feel that it's too early and so on. And so in reaction, the Ghana coach has expressed faith in the youngster. And he also reveals his intention to engage Club Brugge attacker Kamal Sowa for the Black Stars. Afenajan was arguably the biggest inclusion in the 28-man roster, as Rajevac looks to beef up the squad ahead of the AFCON, and Felix Afenajan is only 18. He's been called up only about a week after making his professional debut for AS Roma against Cagliari in the Serie A, following up with a second substitute appearance against AC Milan on Sunday. So let's hear from Milovan Rajevac now on the youngster Afenajan.
Fudbala u Gani, naročito ta pozicija, kad oni vide da mu daju šansu, zašto im mi ne bi dali šansu?
I believe that people from FC Roma and Mourinho is a famous coach. He's well known for his accomplishments in his career. If they are assured to give him chance, for example, last match he played against AC Milan for second half, and if they think that he's a very young player and he has prospect, definitely we can see according to his performance that he's definitely promising talent, so why shouldn't we be assured that he deserves a chance?
Milo on Afena Jan there. It's brought a heated debate, for those who feel that the lad is not ready. He's just played 2 games for Roma. We should give him enough time to get into it. But we are being told, and if you've been on my Joy Online, you might have heard, that the people around Afena Jan will not allow him to come for this qualifier because they feel that especially mentally he's not ready, to play in the national team at the moment. They want to give him a bit of time to get himself going mentally and psychologically before throwing him into the deep end. That is national team football. Another player who has been invited into the Black Stars is Edmond Addo, plays for Sheriff Tiraspol. He's been in the Champions League for a couple of games, and Milo also spoke about his inclusion.
I was monitoring the form of this player since he and his team were playing very well in the past period. They eliminated 2 strong teams, Red Star Belgrade and Dinamo Zagreb, so they qualified for the Champions League, which was great achievement. Their performances in the Champions League were excellent, and this is why he was noticed. And I went to see the match against Inter Milan 2 weeks ago, so he deserved his call-up, and it's important. This position is important for us in the team, so we want to have all available players and the players who can respond to my requirements. So this is why he received his call-up, and we are lucky to have him here.
Milova Rahiva speaking there, and if you didn't get all he said about Afena Jan, the young boy from Roma, let's listen to it again.
Fudbala u Gani, naročito ta pozicija, kad oni vide da mu daju šansu, zašto im mi ne bi dali šansu?
I believe that people from FC Roma and Mourinho is a famous coach. He's well known for his accomplishments in his career. If they are assured to give him chance, for example, last match he played against AC Milan for second half, and if they think that he's a very young player and he has prospect, definitely we can see according to his performance that he's definitely promising talent, so why shouldn't we be assured that he deserves a chance?
Right, like I said, it's raised quite an argument on social media and even some radio stations and television as well. Yesterday I saw a couple of shows where it was being argued that the young man was ready or he's not ready. Oreku Ampofo, is on the JoySports desk. Oreku, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the JoySports link.
Thank you too, Gary. Good afternoon.
Can you sum up the views on young Afena as well? I mean, first of all, for those who don't know, who is Felix Afena Jan?
Well, Felix Afena Jan, he's a teenage sensation who just popped up in Roma. Really, popped up is the best description to use for him because he's a young kid. Went to, I think, Suhum Persek, and he played in Inter SHS. When he finished, he captained Bronga Hafo's team for the Milo Regional Championship. He never really played for any professional club. He only played for Watumba SC and then a juvenile club called Real Madrid in the north. But what made him shoot a little bit of a limelight was when he was involved in one of the Inter SHS games, and then he was spotted by Oliver Atta. Now, at that moment, his agent and his mother, in fact, his mother was pushing for him to join Asante Kotoko. But unfortunately, they didn't have the academy sorted out then. And so he ended up moving to EUR19. That's an academy that was just established about 2 years ago. And quickly, once he joined, he got a move to Italy to have trials at AC Milan, where he was quite proactive, scored a bit of goals, but there was some issues concerning his signing, and Roma jammed on him as AC Milan couldn't finalize the deal. Now, he signed on a Friday. On a Saturday, he made his debut, and then he scored. And all of a sudden, everyone was wondering who this kid is. So he spent just 2 weeks with the under-18s, and then he moved to the under-19s, kept on scoring. This season, he's a top scorer at the Primavera level. But then Jose brought him to train with the senior team about 3 weeks ago. For the Napoli match, he was in the squad, but he never really played. But I think his situation is a mixture of grace meeting preparation. I say that because although the technical team of women knew that this guy had potential and had put him in the senior team to train with them, I think what really was the trigger for his inclusion in the team was after the humiliation in the Europa Conference League, where Mourinho's side was beaten by 6-1. And so since then, there are a couple of players that he has dropped, and he hasn't been included in the squad. And we know the type Mourinho is in terms of management. He wants to send a message across. And so I think Afenajan has been used as a tool to be able to send a message across that if you're not ready to play for Roma, I'm willing to play young guys. And he has been the biggest beneficiary of that, becoming the second youngest debutant this season in Serie A when he played 33 minutes against Cagliari and also getting minutes against AC Milan as well. So, yeah, that's a bit of Afenajan and an introduction to the Ghanaian teenager.
With that context in mind, please fill us in on why there have been two extremes of reaction to his call-up to the Black Stars. There are those who believe that based on the summary you've given of, how rapidly he's risen and how quickly or how soon or how recently he's played for the Roma first team, he's not ready. Others feel, what do you mean he's not ready?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting argument because we've seen different career trajectories, young players being thrown in early and really going downhill from there. And we've seen young players given opportunities early and really grabbing it and really becoming world beaters. But I think the arguments for both really stand for me because if you look at the four, that's those who want Afenajan in the national team. Now, I think the first indication is that, honestly, if you look through the striking options that the Black Stars have right now, I don't even think we have any out-and-out player who we can confidently say would start in a striking role. I say this because Jordan has been listed as a right winger or as a winger in the squad list. I looked through that list, Kuban, Benjamin Tete, Boachi Adom. I don't think there's anyone there who's an outright starter for the Black Stars. So there is that gap. And so you would understand that if someone does well, the FA may want to give him the opportunity and put him in. Yes, he's also young, but then the argument for that is also that if he's been trusted by Jose Mourinho, who thinks he's ready for some bit of football action, why can't he also come to the national team? And also the last reason being the fact that he's coming doesn't mean he's going to carry the burden of scoring goals. The same way he started training with the Roma national team before playing, that's the same way he can also get the experience, get a few minutes, and then develop into the role. Now, for those who are saying that he shouldn't be included in the squad, I think the number one case is how prepared is he mentally, physically, socially, all aspects, because playing national team football is another level. There's a reason players play a lot of club football before they are deemed ready for national team assignments. You look at Afenajan, he's never played for any professional team in Ghana, didn't really spend a lot of time in the academy. So you can understand that despite his high level of talent, there is a deficiency in terms of his football knowledge and understanding. Remember, football is not just about I can kick, I can run, I can score. These young players who a lot of people are citing, Bellingham, Fati, Gavi, Foden and all these guys, had a lot of training in academy and they started playing five-a-side.
Yeah, so Oreku, before you go on, now that you mentioned them, I think it would be prudent to give an example, give a context. So for the benefit of listeners, I mean, one of the big arguments on social media and elsewhere has been that we are saying, or there are those who are saying that Felix Afenajan is too young, he's 18, and they are citing players that Oreku has mentioned, like Pedri, like Gavi and others who were given an opportunity by their various national teams. Now, let's look at these players. For Pedri, he was academy trained first, something that Afenajan has not got. Pedri, what people don't know is that he started 34 out of 36 games for Las Palmas' first team at age 16.
Yeah.
He started 27 out of 38 games for Barcelona before making his Spanish national team debut. and this was at age 16, 17. All right. Gavi was also academy trained, had extensive travel within Spain in the academy setup before playing for the Barca B's first team at the Segunda Division level, and then playing for the Spanish under-15, under-16 and under-18. Started 3 out of 7 Barcelona senior team games before he got a Spanish national team call-up. Now, Jude Bellingham, he was also academy trained. He also played 32 out of 41 games. He started, actually. He didn't just play. He started those games for Birmingham in the championship at age 16. He played for England's under-15s, England's under-16s, England's under-17s, and England's under-21s before playing 11 games for Borussia Dortmund, all before his England debut.
Yeah.
So, in the case of all these players, it's not like, then they say, Gavi was given, but look at it. These guys were the equivalent of many 23, 25-year-olds before they were given the national team call-ups. Some say Dede Ayew. Well, do you know that before Dede Ayew was given his first national team call-up, even as a teenager here, he had played for Olympique Marseille. He had been pushed and he had gotten minutes under his belt. He had started games for Olympique Marseille. Then he had been taken to Lorient. He had been taken to Als d'Avignon in the second division at the behest of his father. Before being given the Black Stars, Jordan Ayew, before being given his debut, it was Milovan Rahivac actually who gave Jordan Ayew his first call-up in his last game in charge of the Black Stars in his first spell. Jordan Ayew was not somebody they just threw into the team. He had played for Marseille and gotten minutes under his belt, even with the youth team and all that. So that's the stark difference between all these players people are mentioning that, they are, and Felix Afenajan. Please carry on.
Yeah, so I think it's important to add to what you're saying that it's not just about age. It's about your football knowledge and football understanding. That's why a 16-year-old can still get to play in the national team. Remember, national team football is so tight in terms of schedule. Yeah. Because, look, Ghana has 2 must-win games. The players are going to come after this week and would have just 4 days of training. It is not now that Milo is about to teach Afenajan movement in the box. No one has that time or patience at national team level. You're going straight and working on tactics. Now, has he been previewed to various form of tactics, various form of game situations? I don't think so. And you see, the difficult thing here is that just look at Benjamin Tete, the most recent call-up. He came on against Zimbabwe at the Cape Coast Stadium, had a really good game, held the ball up well. We went away. He had a contradictory performance where he failed to impose himself in the game. And you could see by the reactions from social media that this guy is not it anymore. And all of a sudden, all the praises just vanished into thin air. So Afenajan and his team knew that this is the situation, the environment that the boy is coming in. He will play for Ghana eventually. But I think a lot of people should take cue from the people who scouted him and the people that manage him. Look, it's not a group of journalists or a group of people saying he shouldn't come. Roma did not want to release him. His agent didn't even want him to come. And if the people closest to the player are saying that he is not ready, then who are you to say that the player is ready? So I don't even think this is an argument that we should stretch. It's obvious he needs a lot of exposure. He's one for the future. And really, there's no need to put pressure on him when we have 2 must-win games with the margins being so tiny.
Great. Okay, so that's it. Was that the only chatter around the Milovan Rahivac call-up, though, apart from Edmond Ado and Afenajan? Is there anything there else that was trending with the call-ups?
I think mine was
Richmond
Boakye now on Richmond Boakye. Now, I find that a very strange case because we all knew Boakye from 2016, 2017. He had his chance with the Black Stars, scored about 5 goals in 13 appearances, and he looked to be a good option whenever he was called upon. All of a sudden, after 2017, 2018, he was never called for 3 years, despite him playing in the Champions League with, I think, Belgrade or so. And
Red Star.
Yeah, Red Star Belgrade. And it's rather strange that now that he's moved past his prime playing in the Champions League, he's gone to an Israeli league where he scored just 2 goals in about 7 games. And all of a sudden, we identify him as the striker that we need. I find that a bit strange in terms of our talent identification system, out of which Milo touched on why he called him and what really caught his eye, especially from the Asian League. But yeah, that was something that I personally stood out for me too as well.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Riku, for that as well. And that's Riku Ampafo of the JoySports has given us a wrap on the call-ups by Milo Rahivat, and especially the topical issues. Which side of the fence are you on whether the young 18-year-old should be allowed by his people? It must be stated that it is his people, his representatives and agents and so on, who believe that it's too early for him to get a call-up to the Black Stars. If you think that, they should just allow the boy to come and experience the national team, or you think that mentally and psychologically he should be sorted out at club level before he's thrown in at the deep end of national team football as well, let's know. 055 1111997. We've got several messages and I'll be reading them. That will be after this interview that I'm going to play right now. This is the Joy Sports Link on Joy99.7 FM. Today, we've touched on a lot of things, haven't we? We've done some Formula One where we've previewed the Mexican Grand Prix. Tomorrow at the Marina Mall, it's going to be a park and view. So you bring your car, you park it, and then you watch the race that will start around 7 p.m. Before then, there'll be the MotoGP, there'll be the Premier League games, there'll be Arsenal versus Watford. Liverpool will also be in action tomorrow. So you can come earlier, get some food, get some beer, courtesy the sponsors. Heineken, the Shell Shop is also across the street. Also partners, DSTV will be having a large screen there and you can watch it. And then we also did a bit on Hazakes ladies who are representing Ghana in the Women's Champions League. They won 3-1 in their first game. And against Malabo Kings of Equatorial Guinea, they play 2 more games against AS Monday first, and then Wadi Degla, that will be in their group. Hopefully, will be advancing to the next round of the competition. We also did some Ghana Premier League, lots to talk about. We touched on all the games and all the topical issues. Ghana Police Service also in the news. They invited the Ghana Football Association for a session, stakeholder engagement, they called it, where they promised to work closer with the Ghana Football Association to curb and to clamp down on match fixing and hooliganism as well. So now, Muftar Nabila of our desk spoke to GFA General Secretary Prosper Harris-Nado on a couple of issues. There's so many interesting things that are happening in Ghana football, and you love this interview. Muftar speaks to Prosper Harris-Nado. Let's hear on a wide range of issues.
Hello everyone, I am Muftar Nabila Abdullahi. Today I'm having a special conversation with the Secretary General of the Ghana Football Association. They recently organized their 27th Congress at the Ghana Soccer Center of Excellence, which is the technical center of the football governing body. A lot of issues were discussed and we are here to get some clarity on some of them, especially the new pyramid for Ghana football that many people are beginning to ask themselves by 2022-2023 how many teams are going to be playing the Division 1 league. He's got that answer to share with us, and many other things his secretariat is doing to ensure that football rise to the peak everyone is seeking for. The person I am here with is lawyer Prosper Harris-Nado. Lawyer, a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here at the Ghana Football Association.
Lawyer, first of all, let me have a clear idea on the new pyramid for Ghana football that the FA discussed at your recent Congress. Does it suggest that by 2022-2023 we'll have at least 30 Division 1 clubs demoted to keep it at 18?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Rather, what we've done, let me take you a step back.
Yeah.
The Executive Council put up 2 committees.
Yes.
One was the Autonomous League Committee headed by His Majesty Togbe Afede. Yes. And then the second one was headed by the Vice President.
Yeah.
That is the Division 1 League reorganization kind of committee. So the 2 committees brought their reports, there were engagements. The executive cancel after looking at all the reports, agreed with the salient points of the report. So the Premier League, we've heard it over the years that we must go autonomous. The word autonomous, I always say that there's no fully autonomous league anywhere. So the FA retains certain functions. Those functions can never move from the FA, but the management, the competition management of the league is what is assigned to a different company to handle. So we will have our version, which is akin, having looked at, the committee looked at the Nigeria model, the Australia model, we have the La Liga, the Bundesliga. The Dutch have their own version, Scotland have their own version, but we started to model our own to the EPL. I think that's the most established league, so we said, okay, let's not play around it. Let's aim at that and see how far we can get to what they are doing. So that's what has been accepted. So having said that, the company will be formed already. We have written to the Registrar General to reserve the name, and so we would take it a step further from the company, which would be the ownership will be made up of the Premier League clubs, and then the FA would have a sort of a golden share. But refereeing, disciplinary committee, club licensing, those still remains with the FA. So that's why the golden share kind of thing is important. So the clubs cannot sit down and say they are changing referee without the FA's approval. They can't change club licensing, they can't change registration.
And then the legal decisions and all that.
So there are things the clubs can do on their own. And then at the end of the season, the same way as it's done in the Premier League, the clubs that are going to the lower tier would leave their shares.
For those that are going to be promoted.
To take up the shares because it's a company and the clubs are the shareholders. So from now to when it will start proper, there are various steps that we will take, various engagement with the clubs, various stakeholders meetings, so that we all come to the same page as we start this journey. So that's for the Premier League. So we there was a debate as to whether we should start with 20 or maintain the 18. Eventually we said, okay, let's start with the 18. If the clubs feel they want to go to 20, then they go. Let's start small and do it well, and then we can progress. So it's the same 18. Kind of thing, and the same 3 promoted, demoted, and then 3 promoted from the second tier. So that's the Premier League. Now the Division 1.
Before you go to the Division 1, let me just ask a quick question. What name is the FA considering for the Premier League? Is it going to be Premier League Company or is Premier League Management Company? What name is the FA considering?
It will be the Ghana Premier League Company Limited, and that's so
limited by shares.
Yes, because it's the shares you have to transfer. So that's what has been reserved. So we've reserved our name already. We just have to take the registration and various steps further. Yes. So we'll be doing that now that we've scaled this. Yes, all those legal steps will be taken, and then we would be ready to start next year. So that makes this year's league very, very important and very
because it ushers on.
Yes. Last year was competitive. This year we expect it to be super competitive. Because if you want to be part of the first 18, that makes that history. Then you must really, and that's why you've seen all the clubs from day one. You see how competitive the matches have been, and we appreciate the efforts put in by the club and the competitive nature of the teams. So this year's league, you can be leading 2-0 until the final whistle.
Like we saw in the first game in Cotonou.
Yes. Until the final whistle.
It's not done.
It's not done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now let's go to Division 1.
So for Division 1, we have 48 clubs.
48 clubs, yes.
Yes. Don't forget in the statute, the GFA statute that was promulgated, if you look at the transitional provision, and this issue was one of the issues that even had during the passing the Congress that passed the regulation into force. You realize that there was caucus meeting, and then the class will go out and go and meet
and come back.
Because at the time, the idea from the normalization and the FIFA team was that 48 Division 1 is a no-no, and so it has to be cut down. Eventually, it was agreed and it was put into the
so how are we going to cut it down?
Transitional provision that should be 18. Okay. So that statutory provision is already there.
Okay.
So to get it done, what we've done in terms of the pyramid is to have a 18-club National Super League.
Okay. 18-club National Super League.
Yes.
And not Division 1 league.
No, the naming will come to the name.
Okay.
Let's look at the pyramid first.
Okay.
So when you come from the Premier League, you come down to the Super League.
Okay.
And the Super League is nationwide in character.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Division 1 league that will play this year also going to be very, very competitive because of these reasons I'm going to give. The champions or the winners of each zone would advance to the Premier League. Yes. And 3 current Premier League clubs will drop. When they drop, they will drop to
their various zones.
The Super League. No, they will drop to the Super League. Okay. So they are the first, let's say they are the first candidates of the
Super League. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then second, the winners have gone to Premier.
Yeah.
So second to 6th.
Yeah.
6th position. That will give you 5 clubs each.
Yeah. So from all the zones, that will be 15 teams.
15 teams.
Yes.
Those 15 teams will join
the demoted class from the Premier League.
Correct. Yeah. To form 18. They will be the Super League.
Okay.
And their league will be national.
Okay.
In
nature.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't forget the Ghana Premier League is moved to a different company managing it.
Yes.
So this league will be the top tier that the GFA will manage.
Oh, okay.
And the GFA will manage it like the Premier League. So that standard will be Premier League standard.
Okay.
That Super League will be Premier League standard managed by
the Ghana
FA. Okay. Of the clubs that are left on the tables, this Division 1 league that will play the table.
Yeah.
So from 7 to 16, those clubs will be taken and they will go to their regions. We'll arrange them by their regions.
Okay.
Okay, when we arrange them by their regions, we'll get certain numbers.
Okay.
So when you get those numbers, now the regional Division 2 leagues that they will play.
Yeah.
So assuming Greater Accra, you have, let's say, 5 that are remaining from the Division 1.
Yeah.
There will be clubs from Division 2 per their...
Yeah. But their structure of also qualifying.
Yes. Yeah. In terms of ranking, they would come and join to form a 16-club
for their region
championship.
Okay. For a specific region.
Yes, for each specific region.
Okay.
So we'll have Greater Accra Regional Championship. Yes. Ashanti, Bronga Ahafo, the RFA structure. So we'll have 10 of them.
Okay.
But they will not be run.
100.
That will be 160 clubs.
160, 16 regions, 160 clubs.
So 10 regions, the 16 teams each. That will give us the championship, the regional championship. Those regional championships will not be run by the RFA. It will be run by the GFA Division 1 standard.
Okay.
Division 1 standard. But you play within your region. So that it cuts travel costs and everything. Yeah. But I repeat, Division 1 standard. So you will not play on Division 2 standard pitch. Okay. It will be Division 1 standard pitch. Okay. If it means we play, because we are in the same region. So if it means being played at game centers with Division 1 standard, that will be done.
Okay.
And it will be run by the FA Division 1 standard.
Okay.
So that's why I said they are not demoted.
Yeah.
They all have Division 1 standard.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we have a lot of teams that would have to come to the plate in terms of Division 1
Okay.
Standard.
Let's talk about the no vaccination, no entry policy.
Yes. Which is coming.
Okay. If it is coming,
yes.
Lawyer, tell us. I had the privilege of going through your Congress document. First of all, what influenced that idea?
We do a lot of engagements with the health authorities who have helped us tremendously during this COVID time. And so we, as an association, we have 25% capacity in terms of our attendance, and we are pushing for more. And you can see that the love, some people say the love is back, some say it's coming back.
It is coming back.
Whichever way you look at it, there are more people than the 25
yeah.
who are interested in going to the matches. So we are in some form of engagement at the background to see the increment of the numbers.
Okay.
And one of the key negotiating factors is the vaccinations.
Okay.
Yes, in the countries that have full capacity today, it's because they've vaccinated to a point.
A chunk of their population.
Yes, and so we would position ourselves to support government in this quest where we have vaccines and to encourage people to go and get them.
In other words, you want to use football as a tool to get the football community to get vaccinated?
Yes, and if we can do that and get more people to the park, it's good for the clubs, it's good for the competition, it's good for the nation. I always say that in a pandemic, the health laws are what you project first, because you need to save lives before the economic superstructure will come in. And so we've been helping with the players last year, we do the test and everything. And indeed, if you look at the FIFA document on the return of football, the CAF one, our own match day COVID-19 protocols. It's all to support the health authorities to achieve. Once they achieve, we all achieve. Okay. And so whatever advice comes from them, we also project it. We know this will come. And so we are alerting our patrons to be at the forefront and to take the vaccine. We know with football numbers. Yeah. When you say today, if you don't vaccinate, you don't enter. A lot of people
will get vaccinated.
And then a lot of people will be in the queues. In terms, so we don't want it to be chaotic. That's why we are alerting
ahead of time. So when do you intend for it to take effect? Because I remember when I spoke to the president, he said with immediate effect. When I went to the Ghana Premier League venues, I was there on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
No, we said we were waiting for directions.
Okay.
Yes, but when the directions come and they said, this is what we are doing, it takes immediate effect when the directions come.
Oh, okay.
So that's why we are saying people should take the vaccines now before we get there.
The directives.
Yes, because when the directives come, that okay, you can now take full capacity or 80% capacity if you are vaccinated. Yeah. We don't want then people are rushing. So that's why we are alerting, we are encouraging, and we are pleading with the football-loving community to. The players have done theirs. I've done mine. President have done his.
I've done mine too.
Yes. So we can only encourage our fellow citizens to also do it because it protects all of us.
I have three questions more than we'll go, Lawyer. The first one is now going to be this. I had a privilege of going through your Congress document for like a week before I came. I noticed that you made a little over 300,000 Ghana cedis from the case. Someone would say COVID played a role because the numbers dropped. For people who were not going, you started with empty stadia, then got to a point people were coming and all that. But this directive, you need data to go to your potential partner and tell him that I can guarantee you these balls, this number of eyeballs. But you come up with a directive that many people feel could be counterproductive because People who don't want to get vaccinated will not get vaccinated and they will not come to the stadium. So you've lost that person or you've lost that person.
No, so that is why we started early, so that we will convince that particular fan. It's a numbers game, so each person.
It's not a restrictive thing. It will not be
No,
counterproductive.
it is not a risk thing because eventually, if you look around the world, that is where it is going. There are a number of companies. If you are not vaccinated, you won't enter their premises, because we have to protect lives. See, this whole thing is about protection of lives first. It's not like people we take delight in saying that if you don't vaccinate, don't come. It's the protection of life. Currently, people go and social distancing and everything. This is a unique way of even fortifying the defense we have as human beings against this disease. So we must all come on board. So it will not be only the GFA. We have more numbers. We require more numbers. That's why we are taking the initiative. But guess what? When it comes, it will be everybody. It will be every sector and every institution saying that please vaccinate before you are allowed here. Because you see, together we can fight against the disease. If we are fragmented and some people are doing it, others are not doing it, we will not be that effective. We will not be that effective. So we can only encourage.
Up on Wednesday to hear reports that your former coach, that was the former Black Stars coach, has dragged you to the court of arbitration for sport. Have you heard that?
No. What I can say is that relationship sometimes in this football, sometimes we part ways, and when we part ways, we sit down and then ensure that it doesn't become
an issue.
Yes, so we wrote to them. We wrote to the coach, and the lawyer wrote back to us. And currently, there's a meeting that we need to have. We fixed one date, it didn't come on. We fixed another which coincided with the Congress. Yes. And so currently, we are liaising with the ministry so that we have the meeting. I'm sure early next week we'll have the meeting. And then, so we agree on a lot of things. It's only one area that they have a different opinion. So that's what we'll sit around the table to look at. But outstanding payment, we all agree to it. Signing on fee, it's not a problem.
So that's the GFA's Prosper Harrisonado speaking to Muftau Nabila Abdullah of the Joy Sports team. And then the Joy Sports link for today. Thank you for your time. It's been a pleasure coming your way. And in terms of update on that Man United versus Man City game, United are still losing by 2-0. Time now for the news at 2. And the ladies are in studio. We'll be back next week with Mom Gary L. Smith. Bye-bye.